Good morning, everybody. Looks like we have a bit more balance going on here. Waiting for that FOMC that's happening later today around 2 p.m. Still just hanging out kind of inside that value of Monday. Kind of a little bearish. You're a little bottom heavy. It's kind of hanging out towards the lower portion, kind of where that POC is. But overall, it is still rotating. If we do hold below that 38, we're looking for 25, which is kind of just in the middle of this value gap here. And then around 17, which is that prior low. If you hold above 66, which is kind of far away at this point, so we do have to lower that possibly down to 52. And then we'll say 66 and 72 here. So basically looking for a retrace of yesterday's value, possibly the upper tail, maybe the weekly open of obviously Monday. Same story on NASDAQ, just not as bottom heavy. You're not like hanging out towards the low of Monday. You're kind of in the middle of Monday there. So if you do stay above that 729, you're pushing towards that weekly open, which is actually very close. And then you have this upper tail to retrace, possibly back to that 76 to like 68 area. And then holding below 650, which is yesterday's value low, then we look for that retrace into Monday's low around 579, then pushing down to 488. Give me 1 second here. Keep an eye on VWAP. If we do bounce here, it is right above us. Looks like we're still pushing towards that value low here. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Banana. Titus, AT, Trevor, Pop, Marcel, Lubomir, LDT. Good morning, Leo. Keep an eye on those 30-minute highs. Looks like they are being protected so far. Tried to push up into it and sold pretty early. Five-minute highs pushing us down as well. Good morning, Michael, Larry, Denise, Future, Garage. Good morning, Ike, Morris, Adam. Good morning, XP, Jose. Tom, Peter, Igor, Ganesh, Mr. B, Ryder. Good morning, eBay. Orion. Might be a little bit slow until we get closer to that FOMC. Still holding this bearish trend here. Keep an eye on those value lows. The last couple of days, we have Tuesday and Monday's value lows kind of sitting right below us. Decent amount of bearish delta here. Doesn't look like a trap so far. Just keep an eye on it. We'll see if they build a node down here. Kind of impulsing right now where it's not really building a node. They are not building a node down here, so very quickly retracing back to that start of the sell-off. Keep an eye on the back test of VWAP here. VWAP coming up at 8:45 and 6:59. You are bouncing off that value low that I mentioned earlier, the value low of Monday. A little bit deeper on ES, but it is bouncing off that level. Value low of Monday and the overnight low as well. Hmm. 25 is not an important level. It's just kind of a zone inside of that value gap that we have. So it's not an exact level. It's more of like a measured target. Just that general zone. Give me 1 second. Let me pull something up really quick. A lot of bullish delta coming in here, breaking through VWAP pretty easily. If it does rebound back into it, just keep an eye on that buy pressure. Back into 45. We'll see if they protect that node. Did we have any data in the morning today? Let me see. No. Basically nothing until the FOMC, which is around 2 p.m. Which, by the way, I will be streaming in the afternoon for that FOMC starting at 2. Good morning, Shade, TS. Mana Tamer, Darius, Roma. Good morning, Blood. HC, Ram, Sam. Appreciate you guys being here. Okay, we did finish our rotation back to today's value high, also hitting yesterday's value low. If we stay below 52, you're just rotating right back down. Back above 52, then you go back to the value high of yesterday. No, there's nothing on the morning calendar. Still holding VWAP on this pullback here. Morning, SK. Morning, Lucio. This is a good reaction here. We didn't want to see it trending too aggressively, especially to the downside before the FOMC. We want to see it kind of hanging out towards that weekly open, which is a little bit above us. Morning, Techie. So today we're going to have the normal morning stream, take a little break, and then we're going to come back for the FOMC at 2 p.m., stream the press conference as well. Looks like we're another day where we're glued to that POC, glued to VWAP. You have a bear flag and a VWAP on NASDAQ, but not on ES here. Possibly hitting that prior low. The prior low is really hard to say on NASDAQ because it's kind of this giant candle right here. So it's anywhere from like 613 down to 582. So speaking of that level, here's that level being taken out right now. It's more of a bear flag, or sorry, more of a VWAP trap than a bear flag into VWAP on ES. You can see it kind of broke above VWAP, and then you kind of had that cupping pattern back below it. So same idea, if it comes down to that prior low, watch those red candles around like 39 down to 32. You are kind of sitting on a cliff here, so if that FOMC is pretty bearish, you're going to start retracing that last week of November. Losing the 20s is really bad. So they need to hope for a neutral or slightly bullish reaction on VWAP, or sorry, on FOMC. Hey, Scott, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate you supporting the channel, man. Looks like we are still just rotating today's profile. You're not holding above that 52, getting back into Tuesday's value. So holding below 52 to 50, you are rotating back down to 40, which is today's value low. A lot of balance going on down here around this 856. If you take that lower node of the lowercase b on top of yesterday, on top of today, our POC is around 56, and then kind of building a secondary POC down here around 45. Same thing on NASDAQ would be around 700. And secondary node is around 650 to 640. Pretty much a perfect pattern leading into FOMC. You typically want to balance out, just kind of wait for that decision. Just sitting right in the middle of this range. Easy to find the range when you can, when you mark out like the point of origin levels, because the point of origin levels are almost always going to be on the high and low of the range. And you can see we're like right in the middle of those levels. We swept the lower one earlier. A little bit of absorption here. A lot of bearish delta coming in around 46 to 45, not really going anywhere. Do I strictly trade ES? For the most part, yes. Another big earthquake in Japan. Possibly like an aftershock from the one that we had. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. This one I believe is smaller, 6.5. Here's VWAP again on NQ. Unfortunately, it is basically just a waiting game today until the FOMC, if it's going to trade like this. Just kind of rotating back and forth. you can see when you have these like back and forth rotations, you're very often seeing sweeps on the high of the candle, sweeps on the low of the candle. And that's typically happening around the value high and value low, right? So sweeping the low, rotating back up, sweeping the high, rotating back down. Very common. Yeah, the Monday, Tuesday, and a little bit of Wednesday going into an FOMC it's usually like this. It's usually a choppy grind, very slow, no momentum. It's just a waiting game. Yeah, I always stream the FOMC starting at 2 o'clock, and then we stream the press conferences as well afterwards. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with trading like Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday before the FOMC. You just have to understand that you don't really want to be like a very strong like momentum impulse trader because those impulses, those breakouts are probably going to be pulled back. So if you're focusing mostly on like rotations, you can trade them. If you're focusing on like traps where the breakouts are being trapped and pulled back, you can trade that as well. I wouldn't say you don't have to trade. Um, you don't have to like hold back and wait for the FOMC. And then trading around the FOMC itself, it's kind of the opposite where it's almost purely momentum based most of the time. Most of the time it's just very very impulsive. Liquidity is very low. It's kind of like news trading. It pretty much is news trading basically. If you like that style of trading, then you can trade that as well. Not usually. Usually you want to pick one side. It's usually better to be either a reversal trader or a breakout trader. It's kind of hard to train your brain to do both. You have a vertical distribution here trying to break through that 52 level, which is that value low of yesterday, trying to retrace yesterday's value. So far, not able to hold above it. You keep putting in these highs and pulling back. Looks like Apex just announced a 90% off sale going until the 16th. So in my poll, I said it was 60%, but they just pushed the 90%. still failing. VWAP on NASDAQ still failing the value low of yesterday and the value high of today, causing that rotation back down. Basically no break in structure. Just waiting for that FOMC. I don't agree they're being priced out. I think they're still pretty much the top dog in the business. There's probably like 2 other competitors that are doing okay. Apex still has like the highest payouts, I'm pretty sure. If not, they're in the top 3. The thing that seems standard with Apex is it might be a little bit harder to get to the paid account, but it seems like with their rules, once people do get to that paid account, they are much more consistent and they stay in that paid account for longer. Now, I don't have the exact stats or anything, so I'm just kind of guessing. But from what I've seen from the community members, the people that have shown me their payouts and they've shown me that they've held on to paid accounts for X amount of time, it seems like the people that hold on to the accounts longer, they're almost always Apex. Which is why I've stuck with them for so long. They fit my mantra or my mentality on this channel, building that consistency, playing the long game. We're not in this for the get rich quick. We're not in this to make a bunch of money and retire the next week, right? We're playing the long game. We're not here to gamble. We're here for the boring side of trading. Yeah, but why were they denying your payouts, Austin? I hate to get into this rant every time, guys, but you guys know how I feel about the loud minority. They don't just randomly deny payouts. That's just not a thing. Yeah, so you admit that you were breaking their rules, so they denied your payouts, exactly. Yep. There is a fine line between the prop firm being safe and having too many rules, right? Keep an eye on VWAP. You're losing 45, goes back to that value low. You want the prop firm to have certain rules in place so they can protect themselves, so they can make money, so they can pay people out. You don't want them to have so many rules in place that you're basically like trading through a maze trying to get your payouts. It's like the whole the one that I always use as an example is fast track trading, right? They came out, they had like no rules, they sounded so appealing to the customer. People started trading them. They were coming into my chat like every single day. Hey, why aren't you on fast track? They have no rules. The rules are so good. And then I kept telling people that like that's kind of sketchy. You want prop firms to have rules. If they don't have rules, they can't make money. If they can't make money, they're a Ponzi scheme. And then what happened to fast track trading? I hate to be the guy that says I told you so, but there you go. And that's happened not just with fast track. That has happened time and time again. So many prop firms pop up and do that. They have attractive rules to the customer, and then guess what? They don't last longer than a year. And then people come into my chat crying about how they got rug pulled or they got scammed by XYZ prop firm. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously. Look at the business model that prop firm was operating at. From what I've seen, Apex has like the most sustainable business model while simultaneously allowing people to actually earn money and have payouts. There's a reason why I only have one affiliate on the stream compared to other streamers who have affiliates for every single prop firm because they're just trying to bleed you guys for every dollar that you have. I trust Apex. I use Apex. I've seen people in the community have thousands and thousands of dollars of payouts with Apex. We've had community members have be in the top 3 of their largest payouts in Apex in our community, right? So that is why I only have one affiliate, and it's because I trust them. You guys would be shocked with how many prop firms, how many crypto firms, forex firms, I mean, you name it. By the way, keep it on the value low. How many people message me for sponsorships and for me to push their products on stream. And I've gotten to the point where I don't even respond to their emails. Because I just do not care. It is not all about money, as you guys have probably noticed if you've been watching my stream for longer than a few weeks. Keep an eye on that value low coming up. There's actually the value low here at 41. There's also a value low at 38. FTX was like the last one where it was kind of eye-opening on stream of like, I need to be very careful of what I show on stream or like what I am using, right? Because they can just go under out of nowhere. They can just become scams out of nowhere. Their pricing is overpriced. Yeah, money is relative, right? Expensive is relative. I don't think they're too bad. Is it optional to go live? Do you mean like in a paid account, like a live account? Yeah. Okay, here's a nasty drop, getting a little bit aggressive. Keep an eye on this value low here. They do want to stay above 38. Holding below 38 is pretty bad. Yeah, at the end of the day, like I've said many times, you guys are obviously free to use whoever you want to use. If you guys like other prop firms, be my guest. It's a free market, right? But like I said, there's a reason why I only have one affiliate. I'm not going to recommend 5, 6, 7 different prop firms. Yeah, exactly. Focus on one thing. Exactly. You don't need to be trading 5, 6 different prop firms. Just find one that works for you and trade that one. Building a strong node here at 36. We'll see if they can actually hold below this node here. Yeah, beautiful thing about a free market. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, right? Nobody's forcing you to buy Apex. Nobody's forcing you to buy their competitors. You find what you like and you buy that one. Holding below this node here, keeping on that low of day at 30. They are starting to stay outside of this value of today and of Monday. Yeah, to be honest, Dab, I'm just never going to trust the whole straight to funded model. It's just like, I don't know. Even if Apex was offering it, you guys would be hearing me say the same thing. I just don't trust the straight to funded model. The straight to funded model, it just kind of seems a little Ponzi schemey. It's also just like the #1 model that is scammed. So I just kind of have like a bad feeling when any prop firm does it. It's also another thing where it's like, if you're so consistent and so good at trading that you would be jumping into the straight to funded, why wouldn't you just use your own account? The biggest thing with prop accounts is like you're testing out new strategies, or you're testing out different systems, or you're just not a consistent trader yet and you're trying to get there. You're trying to become a consistent trader. So you're working towards it. The straight to funded model is, for the most part, I would assume, people losing. I don't know if they release numbers on that, like to say how many people are successful with that model. There are tax differences you could argue, I guess. I don't really know the other benefits that you would have there compared to using your own account. Bouncing off that node here, keep an eye on VWAP, 44 to 45. They really need to hold above 36 here to maintain this balance. Here's VWAP, so if it wants to really push that value low, they're not going to allow it to trade too far above VWAP. It's going to fail VWAP pretty much immediately, so we'll see if they want to break balance here. Sorry, Music, I just saw your question. You said as long as I'm doing one trade per day and hitting my target and logging off, you think Apex would have an issue? Why would they have an issue with that? There's no like minimum trading. Well, technically there is now. You have to trade like once every 6 months. And that was coming from Rhythmic, I believe. That was like a prop firm thing across the board. They started blocking accounts that were inactive. But I think that's like the only inactivity rule. So you can trade as much or as little as you want, really. As long as you're following like the consistency rules and the drawdown stuff. Like I tell most people, if you're sticking to like a standard strategy, you almost never run into their rules. It's when you start changing your size a bunch, when you start changing your strategy and trading more, like you have one big win compared to all your other wins that are like the same size. When you have one of those like tilt days where you just have like a couple of massive losses, stuff like that. But if you're doing like the normal trading, you're sticking to the same strategy almost every day, you're very rarely going to run into their rules. Yeah, the video thing, that's not like an every payout type of thing. That's like a case by case basis. Intraday trailing drawdown is what I stay away from. I don't mind the intraday trailing drawdown, as you guys have heard me rant about many times. I used to talk about that before I was even working with Apex. I used to talk about having rules like that for your own accounts. You should never be allowing winning trades to come back that much, as I've talked about in the Apex videos, in my sizing guides, and like my different strategy videos and whatnot. Even in a personal account, there's a wall here, I believe, at 44. There is, yep. There's a wall at 44, just got taken out. Keep an eye on VWEP. We'll see if they hold above 45 here. But yeah, even in a personal account, you should not be allowing trades to come back like that. So I know that's the rule that most people don't like, but to be honest, that's like one of the most important rules you need to have for even your personal trading. That was one of the biggest things I changed in my trading years ago that helped me maintain consistency. Was if I'm up, like, if I'm hitting my first target or second target, and then it's coming back down towards my break even, there is almost no scenario where I should be allowing that to come back and take a max loss. If it hits my first target, I should be getting out close to break even, maybe a small loss, maybe a small gain. If it hits my second target, comes back to my first target, I've already told myself that that is a good place to exit because I literally exited there already with a part of my trade. So why would I allow it to come through that target, back to my break even, back to my max loss? It's just horrendous trading. That just doesn't even make sense. So should never be allowing that to happen. And the trailing drawdown is a rule that is a little aggressive, I would say, but it is a rule that is forcing that habit. It's forcing the habit of not allowing winning trades or massive winning trades to come back to be losing trades. And that doesn't mean like, hey, I'm up a single tick, let me move my stop to break even. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to like being up at your target, close to your target, and then allowing something to come back to a max loss. By the way, no sell pressure on VWAP, so we are back into standard rotation here. But yeah, like I said, it's really funny that that is like the most hated rule, and I think that is probably one of the best rules you can have. And I don't even know how much, I don't really want to get into this too much more. It's just kind of the same conversation over and over again. But one funny thing about trading is like, we know that most traders lose money. That's like a given. It's an obvious thing. Vast majority of traders lose money, right? But then when it comes to like prop firms or like these discussions that we have, we think that most traders are right. And we're like listening to a certain amount of people talk about like what is right, what is wrong. And it's like, why do we think that they're right when most traders lose money? I don't know. I don't really know how to explain what I'm thinking, but you probably get the gist. Keep an eye on this 52 level, holding below that. You're just going right back down to rotation, back to 40. It's about a 10-point rotation right now, so it's not untradeable. It's not terrible. The 10-day rule? What 10-day rule are you referring to? You referring to like the payout window? Bear flagging a VWAP on NASDAQ. That's the daily VWAP, which is a little bit weaker. Yeah, but how is that affecting your trades? I don't get what you mean. If you need more of a cushion, you just skip the payout window. You don't have to take a payout every window. You can leave the money in your account as a cushion. It's not like a forced payout window. Good morning, Mauser. Pretty much all of my videos talk about setups and concepts, and the playbook videos are more so like those setups with like exact examples. Very fast rotation here. You almost can't even see that it rotated because it's happening in the same candle. It would hit that value high, hit that value low. So now it needs to stay above 40, rinse and repeat, go back to 50. We'll see if they can put in a higher low here. A lot of sell pressure on NASDAQ trying to break balance on NQ. Higher low coming in as expected. More of a sweep on NASDAQ. Going back into rotation, back to possibly 50, maybe a lower high, maybe 48. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, just go to the templates channel, the settings and templates. You can have my exact template from there. Oh, you're trying to replicate them on TradingView. I wouldn't even bother. TradingView does not have proper delta. Excuse me, they do not have proper delta data to replicate these charts. The only chart that you could semi-replicate is like the 30-minute with the volume profile, but not the delta. Their data is not good enough to replicate my charts. Discord's the first link in the description, I believe. If not, it's one of the first three. A lot of pressure to the downside before the FOMC. Yeah, it is a little early. Yeah. It's hard to trust. When you see an impulsive move, especially away from the weekly open, it's a little hard to trust on the going into FOMC. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you pay for the data. It doesn't matter. I pay for the data. I have pretty much all their data. They just do not have the tick rate. They don't have the response time. It does not have like the order by order information like Addis does. Now, I don't pay for their data that's like $300 a month. They have like that crazy data, which I don't even see the point in paying for that. Now, that data might have it, but once again, there's no point because then you could just buy Addis. If you guys don't understand what I'm talking about, if you guys have Addis, if you guys have like NinjaTrader, something that has good delta data, if you put them side by side with TradingView, you'll see what I mean. TradingView just does not have the proper data coming in. Okay, failure to rotate here. They bounced off that value low, sold the 24. So possibly going into a trend here. We'll keep an eye on this. Yeah, NT's data is fine. NT's data is very, very close to Addis. The difference that you see between NT and Addis is just from Addis being faster. The data is pretty much the same. Addis just reads it a little bit faster. And same thing I said, if you put them side by side, you'll see what I mean. They're almost identical, but Addis is just a little bit better. I use the Apex data, so the one coming from Rhythmic. This is an Apex account you're looking at. So I'm using an Apex Rhythmic account tied to Addis. Looks like this break of balance is instantly turning into a bull div and a sweep. They are not able to hold below this low. Watch this low at 35. We'll see if they can build any nodes below that. If not, they're going right back to rotation, possibly back to 50. Yeah, the monitor refresh rate's not going to affect like the how the data is being read. It's just like how you're visually seeing it on your screen. I will say that there is a clear difference on like how. Oh, 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I had to step away for a second. What was I saying? The hertz. Yeah, the oh, by the way, keep it on the rotation being finished here. The hertz is just a visual thing. It makes it your monitors just look better with higher refresh rate. I don't really know how to explain it. But if you have a monitor with 60 hertz and you have a monitor with like 140 or 200, it's just clear. It's more clear on the higher refresh rate. You can literally see the difference by just moving your mouse around on a lower refresh rate compared to a higher refresh rate. I would say for trading, anything over the standard is good. Anything over the 60. If you can get like 100, 140, something like that, it's better. You don't need like in the 200s. That's like gaming, right? Okay, rotation is finished into 50 here. Yeah, it's like a resolution thing. It's not going to change how the platform performs or anything. It's just visual. Just remember to change it. A lot of people buy these fancy monitors and they forget to change the setting because it's not on by default. You have to go into your display settings and actually turn on the higher refresh rate. The main platform I use to execute trades is Trade-of-8. You're currently looking at Addis, which is using Rhythmic and Apex. So you could trade on Addis the way that I have it now, or I'm trading on Trade-of-8, which is another form of Apex accounts as well. Yeah, Lubomir, if you're looking at like getting monitors for Christmas or something, uh, holiday shopping, I would just look for anything that has like over 60, because 60 is like the standard. It's like the bare minimum. Just look for anything above that, like 100, 140, 120. The monitors that I like, the Samsung monitors are really nice. The Odyssey ones. Any of the Odyssey ones are really good. I have a bunch of different monitors because I bought them one by one instead of all at the same time. So I have like an Alienware monitor on this one. I have an LG ultra wide. I have an Asus monitor. I have a Samsung Odyssey. The Samsung Odyssey one's probably my favorite one. The Alienware one is nice, but it has like a flickering issue, like a well, the flickering's actually gone, but it has like a half and half issue where like half the screen on the left, it's like slightly darker than the other half on the right. And I have to change the settings on the monitor and then like change it back to fix it. It's really weird. The Samsung monitor I haven't had any issues with. Keep an eye on VWAP here. This is about where it should find sellers because this is back into a lower rotation. I'd lost count of how many rotations we've had. We've already had like maybe 5 or 6. So if we fail holding value above this 52, you're going right back down to that 40. No, Apex provides the data. You don't pay extra for it. I think they have like an extra you can pay for like level 2 and stuff like that, but the default data is just included. So seeing that same lack of momentum on the break of the value high here, so still not seeing a break of balance. This is the difficult thing about trading these like rotations, the D-shape days, because as you're pushing into that value low or as you're pushing into that value high, it looks so aggressive and you're like, okay, this is the time. This is going to be the one that breaks balance, right? And it could be, right? There is a chance. But looking back at all the other rotations, it failed every single time. So it's like you're betting on something to happen that so far has not happened. Now, normally what I say is around 3 or 4 rotations. That's typically when you start getting those stronger breaks where it's like attempting higher value, attempting lower value. They're looking outside of that D-shaped balance. It doesn't mean it's going to hold and continue to break balance, but at least a test, right? So every few rotations, I don't know why my YouTube keeps crashing. Every few rotations, they're going to attempt higher or lower value, right? It's always scary taking those rotations as you're pushing so aggressively into the value high or value low. Keep an eye on the 30-minute close. You only have 2 minutes left, so if it does continue, you will create single prints on this tail. If it pulls back and stays above this 52, they possibly want to repair this entire retrace back to 66. NASDAQ possibly looking for that 675, maybe that 730 if it does continue. So far, struggling to hold value up here. A little bit of a support node at 52. Keep an eye on this node right here. They are trying to hold it up. If they can keep finding buyers at 52, they're going to try to push that high of day, possibly breaking balance. By the way, no single prints here. All right, guys, we're going to call the morning stream here. I will be back in, what, like 2 hours? Yeah, about 2 hours, about 2.5 hours. I'll be back at 2 p.m. for the FOMC stream. I will be streaming the start of the FOMC at 2 o'clock and the press conference at 2:30. If you guys are in Discord, I'm just going to keep the stream running. So just look out for that to start in Discord here in a couple minutes. If you guys are not in Discord, I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys want to support the channel, you can use code BREW on Apex. They have a 90% off sale they just announced. I believe it's going until next Tuesday, I think it was. You can also check out the Discord first link down below. And yeah, like I said, I'll see you guys in a couple hours. If I don't see you in the afternoon, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Peace, everybody.